Hey guys! So this is of course episode 2 of Tia Tidbits with Heather and Randy. So today we're also going to be diving into a little bit about roommates and how to handle them and how that's going to go for a lot of you, because most of you guys are going to have roommates, whether that's 1, 2, 3, or 4. So today we are going to be diving into that. So first things first, an important thing for you guys to remember about roommates is to always set boundaries. Setting boundaries is very important because once you set those boundaries, once boundaries are set, it makes it for such an easier way to live. It makes it for such an easier environment to live in with your roommate, because once your boundaries are set, you kind of know what they like, what they don't like, and vice versa. And there's so much more smoother communication between the two of you. Setting boundaries is very important. So I think that that's one of the biggest things that you guys should take in mind when you're going into your first year of college, making sure that you and your roommate have those set boundaries in place before anything, for sure.
Yeah. So with that means you have to learn how to effectively communicate with your roommate. I know it can be kind of weird if you're living with somebody who you barely know. So I would encourage you all to start that communication now. Most of your schools will give you either your roommate's phone number or their email. Try to reach out to them. Just send a text or email like, hey, this is who I am. This is a picture of me. So excited to live with you. Let's connect at some point so that we can discuss, like, this is what I'm bringing, because you don't need 2 TVs in your room because that's not gonna work. Who's gonna bring what? Are you gonna have a pet? All these things you really need to discuss. So once you have made that initial communication, you all can start setting those boundaries before you even move in. So for some reason, I know a lot of you have reached out talking about you've had a hard time connecting with your roommate now. That's okay. So you can always see who they are on the first day. If they show up, sometimes they just may not show up. So you may get somebody completely new, and that's completely fine. So definitely make sure that you set up those boundaries if you move in with that person the first day, if you haven't done that already. And of course, while you are living with that person, always communicate effectively about things that are bothering you. Don't let it just sit and boil over until you all start getting into a fight, which is not what we want. So definitely, if your homegirl, Jayla, who you're living with, is like always leaving her noodles all over the place and you've seen a couple spiders and ants, you gotta be like, hey girl, look, I understand you be eating on the run, but I need you to clean up after yourself because it's nasty. So with that, make sure that you're setting boundaries of like how often you all are going to clean. If you are sharing a bathroom, who's going to clean the bathroom on what week, with that. So in addition, this is kind of something that is kind of self-explanatory, but some people just need to hear this. Make sure that you're cleaning up after yourself. Don't be that roommate that's gross. The one that the people have to be like, hey girl, hey dude, let's talk about that. So start now. If you live at home with your parents or guardians and they usually pick up after you, make sure that you try to do that yourself, because you will not have a maid or a mom or dad or auntie, whoever picks up after you when you get to college. So try that now. And nobody's roommate wants to pick up after you either. So try that now. With that, you also have to make sure that when you are communicating that problem, don't come off in an aggressive manner. When you're communicating a problem with your roommate, definitely let them know that you're coming at them with a nice approach, not like a in-your-face approach, because that's a little too much. Definitely be like, hey, this is something that's been happening. It's a little bit upsetting or concerning to me. Can we talk about how we can fix this? And of course, some people may take certain things the wrong way because, you just never know. So with that being said, remember that your RAs, your resident assistant, as well as the other housing staff are there to help you.
Yeah, so for that, honestly, one of the biggest things to know is that if a problem isn't solved between you and your roommate, always the first thing you want to do is approach your roommate first. And again, like as Heather was saying, approach them in a manner that isn't aggressive or isn't too confrontational, and make sure that you're doing it in a nice way and a respectful way, of course, because again, this is someone who you are living with, or people that you are living with. And if that doesn't, for whatever reason, get solved, there's always a ladder of people that you can go to. So for example, if it doesn't get solved at the base level, you can always go to your RA and then the housing director and so forth to get your situation solved. And worst case scenario, there are always ways for you to either move out of that dorm and go to another one or another room or whatever the case may be. Or let's say, for example, Jason down the hall, he doesn't like his roommate either. Y'all can probably switch and, you know, do anything like that. So there are definitely a lot of solutions for these problems. So never feel like, well, I'm gonna be stuck with this person forever and we just don't get along and it's gonna be horrible. No, because there's always gonna be a solution for you guys. Just make sure that you do start out talking with your roommate first, and then if it does get to a little bit of a level where it has to be escalated, then go up the chain of commands. Other than that, I think that having a roommate, no matter what, there are always going to be some things that you may not like, that you might like, or whatever the case may be. But just know that just as you're experiencing these new things, they are experiencing them as well. So make sure that effective communication, make sure that you guys have that effective communication, because once you guys have that and you set boundaries, then it comes for a way smoother first year of college for both of you. And find a lot of things that you guys may have in common, because you never know. For example, in my situation, when I first went to college, like, I didn't really know my roommate like that. And once I started living with him, I found out that we had so much in common, and he was a really great person to room with. And it made for such a smooth, you know, first year of college, because I had him to, you know, kind of do a lot of things with, such as going to go get lunch, or going to, you know, see where my first classes were going to be and stuff like that. So always go into it with the positive mindset and never a negative one, and just make sure to make the best out of it.
I definitely agree. We did talk about making sure you're communicating with your roommate, and if that does not work, you've talked with your RA, which is your resident assistant, or the other housing department, and it's just not working out. Don't be afraid to say that you need to leave. If you don't feel comfortable with your roommate, if they're doing things that are against the student handbook, which we're going to talk about in a second, and it's not making you feel safe or comfortable, definitely make sure that you alert somebody and you ask for a change. For example, when I moved off campus into apartment, so if you are moving into an off-campus apartment or apartment in general, definitely make sure that you have the same conversation with your roommates. Well, I had a roommate who I didn't know, and, you know, first things were great, and then things just started to escalate between the two of us, and it just came to the point where things were threatening violence. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna move away, because I'm not trying to get into none of that. So definitely make sure that you talk with your housing office, or if you're living off campus, your leasing office, the leasing manager, and let them know that there is something potentially dangerous happening here, and I don't want to be part of it, so that you can get ahead of the game before anything bad happens. And with that, the student handbook. So every one of you all is going to have to say that you read, so I hope you all read it, the student handbook, or the student code of conduct for your university. Basically telling you the things that you can and cannot do for school. I know a lot of us may not have read it. I say us because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't read mine either. However, there are things in it that you may not even know that you're not allowed to do. You know, even if in the state of Texas, I believe, like, if you're 21, you can smoke cigarettes. And if you are 21, they won't let you do that on campus because you may have a smoke-free campus, all those kind of things. So make sure that you're abiding by that student code of conduct, because they can find things that they shouldn't find in your dorm, because they do random room inspections. So if they see that, like if you have a pet and you didn't get clearance from that, you could get kicked out or fined or something like that. So definitely make sure that you are abiding by those rules. And also, if your roommate is not, you don't want to be a snitch, of course, but if that's gonna cause you some trouble, I would definitely try to, like, talk with your roommate about it first. And if they just are like, I don't care, I'm gonna keep my snake in here, you need to go tell somebody, because they don't want a boa constrictor running around. It's crazy. So yeah, make sure that you're abiding by the student code of conduct, or the housing handbook, or student handbook, whatever. You will be able to find it on your school's website. Just type in code of conduct and it'll pop up for you.
So yeah, again, it's very easy for you to get your contract terminated with, you know, your housing, just because, I mean, there are many rules that you need to follow, and so it's important for you to read that, because honestly, for a lot of people going into it, they're just like, you know, it's a lot of things, well, let me not even, like, read it, let me just skim over it. It's very important for you to read over it, just because, you know, at any moment, if you do violate any of those, you know, rules or anything like that, the housing director, anybody up there can always terminate your contract, and you have no place to live now. And you're like, well, how am I gonna get class, etc., etc. So always just be mindful of those rules and following them. But yeah, so other than that, we wish you guys nothing but the best when it comes to your roommate situations. Again, Heather and I are always here to help if you ever do need our help with anything, whether that's questions about roommates or just questions in general, comments, concerns, anything you may have. We're gonna put down our emails here down below and in the description box as well. And of course, if you do have any questions for your advisors, we're also putting their emails in the description box as well. Again, if you have any questions or concerns for them, always feel free to email them as well. And we hope that you enjoyed this video, and always make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe, and get your those.
We need to get subscribers
Yes.
up. And tell your friends, if you're watching these and your friends who are in talent search have not seen these videos or haven't watched our channel, let somebody know, okay? Because we might be doing some special things in the future, and you always
never know.
You never know. We could be doing
Something.
Oh.
But yeah, honestly though, guys, if you have any feedback for us, we're more than welcome to. I hate this word. I literally hate it so bad. If you have any feedback for us, we're more than willing to accept it. So, I mean, thank you guys for those that have been tuning into our weekly videos, and we can't wait to see where it goes from here. But again, thank you guys so much, and we'll see you in next week's video.
Bye.
Bye.